Viakoo is the leader in IoT vulnerability remediation. They implement automated device cyber hygiene at scale to manage firmware, passwords, and certificates, enabling their customers to continuously defend their IoT attack surface at the lowest risk and cost. Today's presenter is John Gallagher, Vice President of Viakoo Labs. Take it away, John.
Thanks, Kevin. I'm really excited to be here. We've got a few different concepts that we're going to go through in the next few minutes. So I'll just do a brief intro. My name is John Gallagher. I'm Vice President of Viakoo Labs. Been with the company about 9 years and have seen actually some of our technologies evolve, and most importantly, how those technologies are used by our corporate customers. So that's what I'll go into in the next few minutes. So the situation that we all face, and some of the other panelists have talked about this today, is that with physical security systems, they are scaled out, they're physically distant from each other. Think of cameras outside of buildings, and managing them with simply humans just doesn't scale. And that's at the heart of what Viakoo does, is we provide automation for ensuring that these scaled out devices can be managed, observed, visible, secured, and most importantly, operational, so that they're delivering to your corporate clients, the benefits that IoT delivers, especially physical security with respect to safety. So service assurance is the foundation of what Viakoo does. And from that, we've built a lot of other capabilities, as we'll get into, including cyber hygiene and lifecycle management. But service assurance really is the foundation. It's making sure that everything's working properly. And a funny situation is when we talk sometimes to customers or prospects, and they say everything's fine, which is what we want to hear, of course. And then we ask the further question, which is, oh, but do you ever have missing video? And usually the answer is, oh yeah, that happens all the time. So that's the situation that the Viakoo is trying to correct, right? For things to be working as they should, you need to be confident that you're going to be able to retrieve video evidence, that you have continuous monitoring and diagnostics of your environment, and that once a problem happens, you're able to solve it very quickly and easily through automated diagnostics and fix-it plans. So Viakoo does that, and we've done it actually for over 2 billion hours in production. And some of the complexity that we're dealing with, right? I mean, think of a video stream. That stream follows a path through the infrastructure, and that path goes across a variety of different types of components, applications, and also every path will go through a different part of the infrastructure, using different ports, using different parts of storage, etc. So you can imagine the complexity that's there, and seeing where problems happen. Was it a PoE switch failing? Was it storage not working? Viakoo's automation covers that and covers every single path individually, so that you're able to see exactly for that path why it didn't work, why it didn't fail. We're really looking overall at the IoT environment as a team working as a system of components, what we call a tightly coupled environment. And it's important because some individual products like a VMS, they have fantastic self-test check health capabilities, which is great. But it's great for diagnosing problems with the VMS. Most video path problems aren't related to the VMS. They're related to the other devices that we see here. So really what Viakoo does complements the use of a overall self-test health check and other device level tests. It really layers on top and adds something that they don't. The other thing about tightly coupled structures is the diagram went through there, is that they're found everywhere. So by mastering what we're doing with Viakoo for your physical security environments, you're at the same time mastering what's needed for smart building systems, for HVAC management, for Pro AV equipment, and so forth. They all share the same nature, which is that these devices are not just operating individually, they're tied to networks, and most importantly, they're tied to an application. So Viakoo does what we call application-directed discovery, where we're looking at actually every single device and its relationship to its application. And from that, we're able to look intelligently at what's happening. And that's also very important for cybersecurity. as layered on here to the diagram, every one of these devices is network connected and vulnerable. Therefore, organizations need to make sure that they're on the latest firmware versions, they're rotating passwords, they're using certificates to establish trust in the devices. Those are all things that Viakoo automates and does in the context of the applications and networks that these systems rely on. And of course, for most organizations, especially the corporate campus teams that we work with, this is a growing problem both in cost and risk. Right, over 3 billion IoT cyber attacks last year, and the forecast, of course, is not looking good for this year or next. The other part of managing cyber hygiene is simply doing it, right? Making the changes happen when and as quickly as they're available. And the most important of that is firmware, right? When new firmware is coming out, used to be it was for functionality. Today, it's really to deliver needed fixes, urgently needed fixes. I was just looking yesterday, the CISA, the US government cyber agency, issued its update just yesterday on the cyber known vulnerabilities. Realtek chipsets, yet again, are on that list, urgently needing patches. They're deployed in multiple different camera types. How are you going to address that? If it was with Viakoo, you would be pushing a button and having that firmware deployed across your entire infrastructure with automated checks to make sure that the devices are coming back as they should and reassociating, or as we would call it, repatriating to the overall workflow. To do that manually takes, as you can see on the charts here, hundreds of people, thousands of hours, beyond the scope of most every organization's capabilities. So facing these increased requirements, lifecycle management, cyber hygiene, span of control, cost reduction, system performance, all of these Viakoo can do easily and automated for you. So I'll just summarize here by saying that you've got a fundamental choice. You can choose manual, which many organizations still do. They might contract that manual effort out. But instead, I would really encourage you to embrace and run with automation. And the automation could be done through your team, through a small team, can be done through managed service providers. Viakoo is very proud to have relationships with leading managed service organizations, and many of the integrators you currently work with have a managed service offering. Very likely includes Viakoo as part of it. So again, I would just focus on how do you best achieve the goals of physical security, visibility, and performance through Viakoo, and how do you extend that to IoT through us as well. So with that, let me turn it back to Kevin, and looking forward to some good questions during the Q&A. Thank you.